Ancient Awakening. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the edge of the vast alien structure, the orange light of the setting sun casting long shadows across the dusty surface of planet LV-329. After 15 years of deep space exploration, she'd seen her share of ruins and remnants of extinct civilizations, but nothing like this. This wasn't just another archaeological curiosity. It was impossibly immense, impossibly precise, and impossibly familiar. "Any luck with the entrance?" Elena asked, her voice slightly distorted through her expedition suit's communicator. Dr. Kane, the expedition's xenorchaeologist, shook his head, the movement awkward in his protective gear. "Nothing yet. The material is unlike anything in our database. It's resisting all conventional scanning methods." The structure before them rose almost a kilometer into the thin atmosphere, its surface a deep obsidian black that somehow absorbed light rather than reflected it. No seams, no visible entrances, no markings, just an enormous monolith that, according to their orbital scans, extended another 3 kilometers below the planet's surface. "Keep trying," Elena ordered, then gestured to Lieutenant Davenport. "Set up a perimeter. We're staying until we figure this out." As the team dispersed, Elena approached the structure alone. Something about it called to her, a strange sensation that had been growing stronger since they'd first detected the anomaly from orbit. She pressed her gloved hand against the smooth surface. Nothing happened for 3 heartbeats. Then, without warning, a line of blue light appeared beneath her palm, spreading outward in concentric circles that illuminated the entire facade. The ground trembled as a previously invisible doorway materialized and slid open, revealing a corridor bathed in the same eerie blue light. "Commander," Dr. Kane's voice crackled in her earpiece. "What did you do?" Elena stared at her hand in disbelief. "Nothing. I just touched it." Security Chief Okoye was immediately at her side, weapon drawn. "Ma'am, protocol dictates we should wait for a drone reconnaissance before." "I know the protocols, Chief," Elena said, already stepping toward the entrance. "But something tells me this isn't waiting for us to follow procedure." Inside, the corridor stretched far beyond what their lights could illuminate. The walls were covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change when not viewed directly. The air was breathable, impossibly so on a planet that had been determined to be lifeless. "These markings," Dr. Kane whispered, his scanner moving across the walls. "They look almost human, like a highly evolved form of our own ancient symbolism." "That's impossible," Lieutenant Davenport said. "Humans never made it this far into the galaxy until the Exodus ships." As they ventured deeper, the structure revealed chambers filled with dormant technology, control stations, suspended animation pods, weapon systems, all scaled perfectly for human use. In the central chamber, they found what appeared to be a command center with a single raised platform at its center. "Commander," Dr. Kane's voice trembled. "According to my readings, this installation is at least 8 million years old." 8 million years, long before humans had even evolved on Earth. Elena approached the platform, drawn by the same inexplicable pull she'd felt outside. In the center was a simple depression, a handprint. "Elena, don't." Kane started, but she had already removed her glove and placed her bare hand on the surface. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. The entire structure hummed to life, systems activating in cascading waves of light and sound. Above them, a massive holographic display materialized, showing the galaxy, but different, changed. Thousands of points of light appeared, connecting in a vast network that spanned every known star system. And then, a voice, neither male nor female, neither mechanical nor organic, filled the chamber. "DNA resurfaced protocol ingenuity. Welcome, our architect. After 8.2 million years, Q-on contingency adoakening sequence init. Elena pulled her hand back as if burned, but the systems continued activating. "What the hell is happening?" Before anyone could respond, their communications officer burst into the chamber. "Commander, we're picking up multiple unidentified vessels entering the system. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, in dozens of languages." "What are they saying?" Elena demanded. The officer's face had gone pale. "They're demanding we surrender immediately. They're calling us the awakened ones. They're saying we violated the ancient pact by returning to this sector." Within hours, their small exploration vessel, the UNSS Discovery, was surrounded by an alliance of alien ships unlike any they had encountered in humanity's 2 centuries of space exploration. The diplomatic channel buzzed with a request for communication, and somewhere in the void between stars, other signals moved as well. Warnings, alerts, and rallying cries as the diverse species of the galaxy prepared to confront the return of their oldest fear: humanity. Reclaiming legacy. The UNSS Discovery limped into Earth's orbit, battle-scared and barely functional. They had been pursued across 7 star systems by an unprecedented coalition of alien vessels, species that had previously been trading partners, neutrals, even allies, now united in a desperate attempt to prevent Commander Elena Reyes from reaching her homeworld. "We've got incoming transmissions from Earth Defense Command," Lieutenant Davenport reported, his voice hoarse from days without proper rest. "They want to know why we have half the known galaxy on our tail." Elena stared at the blue-green sphere of Earth growing larger on the view screen. How strange to think that this world, the cradle of humanity as they had always believed, might actually be their prison, a place of exile and genetic regression designed to contain what was once the most powerful species in the galaxy. "Tell them we need to speak directly with the Security Council," she said, "and prepare the data package from the structure. All of it." Earth Defense Command vessels moved to intercept the alien pursuers while the Discovery docked at the orbital station. Elena and her team were immediately escorted to a secure facility where the highest levels of Earth's government awaited them. Admiral Chen, head of the United Earth Space Command, greeted Elena personally. His face was grim. "Commander Reyes, in the 30 years since humanity achieved faster-than-light travel, we have never faced a situation like this. 27 different species, many of whom have been at war with each other for centuries, are now forming a united front against Earth. They're demanding we surrender you and your team, along with all data recovered from LV-329. Elena met his gaze steadily. "Admiral, what we found changes everything we thought we knew about ourselves. Humanity isn't just another young species finding its way among the stars. According to both the Alien Coalition and the data we recovered, we were here first. All of it. The galaxy, the star lanes, the habitable worlds. It was all ours." The briefing room fell silent as Dr. Kane projected the information recovered from the ancient structure. DNA comparisons showing human genetic markers embedded in technology millions of years old. Star maps revealing thousands of similar installations scattered throughout the galaxy. And most disturbing of all, recordings, degraded and fragmented, but unmistakably showing humans commanding technologies far beyond current understanding. The structure activated in response to human presence, Dr. Kane explained. And once active, it began transmitting to other similar installations. According to our data, these aren't just outposts. They're nodes in a vast network designed to rebuild something called the Dominion. Admiral Chen's face had grown increasingly pale as the presentation continued. "Are you suggesting that humans once ruled the galaxy? That's preposterous. Our entire evolutionary history is documented on Earth, or carefully engineered to appear that way," Elena countered. "The alien ambassador called Earth a quarantine world, a place where humans were genetically regressed and allowed to evolve again, with no memory of what we once were." Before the Admiral could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The tactical officer's voice came over the intercom. "Multiple hyperspace ruptures detected. Over 200 alien vessels have appeared in-system. They're forming a blockade around Earth and demanding our immediate surrender." On the main screen, a transmission appeared. Not just Ambassador Vox of the Viridian Council, but representatives from dozens of other species, forming what they called the Containment Coalition. People of Earth, Vox began, crystal features shifting in patterns of deeply apparent concern. We regret this confrontation, but you leave us no choice. For 8 million years, the galaxy has lived under the shadow of your return. The architect sites are activating across the stars, awakening protocols set in motion before any of our civilizations achieved sentience. Another alien stepped forward, massive and insectoid, identified as Supreme Strategist Klvac of the Hegemony. Your species nearly destroyed all life in the galaxy once before. The Architect War consumed 1,000 worlds. We will not allow it to happen again. Admiral Chen stood tall before the transmission. We have no knowledge of this history you claim. Humanity has been a peaceful member of the galactic community since first contact. On the view screen appeared a being unlike any they had encountered. Crystalline structures formed a face-like arrangement, pulsing with internal light. It identified itself as Ambassador Vox of the Viridian Council. Humans, it said, its voice translated through their systems. Your presence at the Architect site violates terms established long before your species was meant to return to the stars. Elena stepped forward. We don't understand. We discovered this planet through standard exploration protocols. We have no knowledge of any Architect site or ancient pacts. The crystalline face shifted in what might have been disbelief. Your deception is unnecessary. The activation of the beacon cannot be hidden. After millions of years, the warnings were proven true. The architects would return. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Elena said carefully. We are not these architects you speak of. We're explorers from Earth. A ripple passed through the crystalline being, something like laughter, but hollow with dread. Earth. Yes, the quarantine world. The place where the last of your kind were sent to forget, to evolve anew, to perhaps become something different than what you were. Elena felt a chill run through her. What are you talking about? Your species did not evolve on Earth, Commander Reyes. You were placed there, genetically regressed, memories erased, a punishment and a second chance after the war of extinction that nearly destroyed all sentient life. Dr. Kane stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding protocol. That's biologically impossible. We have a complete evolutionary record of humanity on Earth. A record meticulously crafted to ensure your development followed a natural progression, Vox replied. The truth is far simpler and far more terrible. Before there were any of us, there was only humanity. The first spacefaring race. The architects of the galaxy as we know it today. Elena's mind raced as she processed the implications. If what you're saying is true, why tell us now? Why not destroy us before we could discover this? Because the fail-safes prevented it, Vox said simply. When the ancient human empire fell, the remaining galactic species agreed to watch over your development. Some argued for extinction, but others believed in redemption. The compromise was Earth, isolated, protected, allowed to evolve naturally with no memory of what came before. And now? Elena asked. Now you have activated an architect site, the first in millions of years. Already we detect other sites awakening across the galaxy, responding to this one. The ancient network stirs. The crystalline face hardened. The Council has convened an emergency session. Many believe the only safe course is immediate quarantine of your species, or extinction. Before Elena could respond, their tactical officer reported multiple weapons locks from the surrounding vessels. Simultaneously, Dr. Kane rushed in from the science lab, tablet in hand. Commander, I've analyzed the data from the structure. It's not just a building or an outpost. It's a seed. A self-replicating technology hub designed to rebuild something on a galactic scale. And it's keyed specifically to human genetic markers. Elena turned back to the screen where Ambassador Vox watched impassively. Give us time to understand what we found. We had no intention of activating anything. Intention is irrelevant. Vox replied. The mere presence of your genetic signature has triggered protocols established before my species even existed. Already, reports come from across the galaxy of similar structures activating. The network awakens. Suddenly, the alien ships opened fire, not on the Discovery, but on the structure on the planet below. Energy weapons of immense power struck the black surface, yet it remained unmarked, absorbing the attacks without visible damage. In response, the structure pulsed once, and a wave of energy expanded outward, temporarily disabling all ships in orbit, alien and human alike. As systems rebooted, Alina made a decision. Prepare for emergency jump. We need to get this information back to Earth. Commander, Lieutenant Davenport warned, they'll pursue us. Let them try. Elena took her command chair. Earth needs to know the truth. We're not just explorers stumbling onto ancient ruins. According to these aliens, we're returning to what was once ours. As the Discovery broke free of the alien blockade and jumped to faster-than-light travel, Elena couldn't shake the sensation that had overcome her in the structure. Not fear or confusion, but an overwhelming sense of recognition. As if something long dormant in her very DNA had awakened alongside the ancient machinery. Behind them, the black structure continued its activation sequence, sending signals to identical installations scattered throughout the galaxy. A network built by human hands 8 million years ago, finally reawakening after its long sleep. Your ignorance was by design, Kolvac chittered. The greatest minds of a dozen species worked to ensure your kind would forget, would be given a chance to evolve differently. But the safeguards have failed. The network awakens. What exactly are you demanding? Chen asked. Complete surrender of Earth and all human colonies. Vox replied. Genetic modification of all human offspring to remove the markers that interface with architect technology, and immediate access to all activated sites. Elena stepped forward. And if we refuse? The insectoid Kolvac's mandibles clicked once. Then we have no choice but to enact the Terminus Protocol, the complete sterilization of all human-inhabited worlds. As the transmission ended, the room erupted in panicked discussion. Earth's defenses, while considerable, couldn't hope to stand against the united forces of nearly every spacefaring race. We need time, Alina insisted to Admiral Chen. The structure on LV-329 was just one node in a network. If we can find others, understand what they were designed to do. We may not have time, Commander, Chen replied grimly. They're mobilizing for attack. But as Earth prepared for what seemed like inevitable defeat, something extraordinary happened. Throughout the solar system, sensors detected energy surges from previously unknown locations, beneath Earth's oceans, inside several asteroids buried under the Martian surface. Ancient installations, similar to the one on LV-329, awakening from their long dormancy. And they weren't just awakening, they were transforming, restructuring local matter to rebuild facilities, launch defense platforms, and create a protective shield around Earth that the alien weapons couldn't penetrate. In the chaos that followed, Alina made a decision. Admiral, I need to get back to my ship. These installations are responding to human presence, specifically to whatever genetic markers triggered the first sight. If I can reach another node, perhaps I can understand how to control this. Within hours, as the alien coalition found their weapons ineffective against the suddenly activated defenses, Alina and a hand-picked team were aboard the hastily repaired Discovery, slipping through the blockade toward the coordinates of the nearest known architect site in the Alpha Centauri system. What they found there changed everything. The installation on Alpha Centauri III dwarfed the one on LV-329. As Alina placed her hand on its control interface, not just a room, but an entire buried city illuminated, systems powering up after eons of dormancy. And this time, the facility's eye response was more complete. WLCOM, Architect Roy WS, GE Niti Ki LINEAG Co Environment, URDECENDE from VAOVERCERCASTE. Dominion Restoration Protosoito proceeding at 31% completion. What is the Dominion? Elena demanded. What were the architects trying to achieve? The holographic interface coalesced into a human form, tall, with features that seemed eerily similar to Elena's own. The Dominion was the unified government of humanity at its height. 8 million years ago, humanity had evolved beyond biological constraints, achieved perfect mastery of matter and energy, and seeded life throughout the galaxy. Then what happened? Dr. Kane asked. Why were humans quarantined on Earth? Civil war, the construct replied simply. The greatest minds of humanity divided on the fundamental question of our existence, whether to continue advancing toward transcendence or to remain as guardians of the younger species we had helped create. The transcendents won the initial conflict, but their victory was Pyrrhic. Too many worlds were destroyed, too many species extinct. The survivors among the Guardian faction sacrificed their advanced state, agreeing to genetic regression and memory wipe, allowing themselves to be placed on Earth to evolve anew. And the Transcendents? Elena asked. Gone beyond the galactic rim, seeking their destiny among the stars. They left behind this network, dormant, waiting, programmed to awaken only if humanity ever achieved spaceflight again and reached the right evolutionary state. Understanding dawned on Elena. The alien coalition. They think we're the Transcendents returning. Correct. The younger species remember only the devastation of the war, not that half of humanity fought to protect them. Elena's mind raced with implications. Can you communicate with the other activated sites? Can you tell them that we're not here to rebuild some ancient empire or continue a war? The construct studied her for a long moment. You truly do not remember. Your species has indeed evolved differently this time. It paused. I can redirect the Dominion Restoration Protocol. Instead of re-establishing the old power structures, the network can share knowledge, technologies for healing, for sustainable growth, defenses against natural cosmic threats. Back in Earth's orbit, the standoff had become more complicated. While the alien coalition still surrounded the planet, the activated architect defenses had made direct assault impossible, and more ancient installations awakened hourly across human-settled worlds, each adding to a growing network that seemed programmed to protect humanity at all costs. Admiral Chen was communicating with the alien coalition from a position of newfound strength when Elena's transmission reached Earth. The data she sent revealed the true history, not just of humanity's ancient past, but of how half of humanity had sacrificed their advanced state to protect the younger species they had helped nurture. We are not the enemy, you remember, Elena told the assembled alien representatives, her image projected alongside Admiral Chen's. We are the descendants of those who chose to give up power rather than continue a destructive war. The Guardians, not the Transcendents. Ambassador Vox's crystalline features shifted skeptically. Pretty words, but the architect sites continue to activate. The network grows stronger by the hour. Because it was designed to protect humanity, not to conquer, Elena explained. We have redirected its primary functions. Instead of rebuilding the Dominion, it will serve as a repository of knowledge, available to all species. Supreme Strategist Kolvak chittered in disbelief. You would share architect technology freely, the power that once ruled the galaxy. We would share what helps, what heals, what protects, Admiral Chen affirmed. But governance of the galaxy should belong to all sentient species together, not to any single power, including humanity. The negotiations that followed lasted weeks, as more revelations came from activated architect sites across the galaxy. The truth emerged in fragments and pieces. Humanity had not just been the first spacefaring race. They had seeded much of the intelligent life that now populated the stars, guiding evolution on 1,000 worlds. The civil war that had nearly destroyed the galaxy had ended with the Transcendents leaving for the intergalactic void, while the Guardians chose reduction and rebirth on Earth, a sacrifice made to ensure the younger species would have a chance to grow without the shadow of their creators. 6 months after the Discovery's initial finding on LV-329, representatives from Earth stood before the newly formed Galactic Congress, not as supplicants or aggressors, but as peers. The ancient architect network had been repurposed, its technology is now being carefully studied and shared by joint scientific teams. Commander Elena Reyes, now Admiral Reyes, addressed the assembled delegates. History remembers the destruction of war more easily than the sacrifice of peace. For 8 million years, half of humanity chose to forget what they were to evolve anew, rather than continue a conflict that would have ended all life in the galaxy. She gazed around at the diverse assembly, species that had evolved during humanity's long sleep on Earth. We do not seek to reclaim ancient authority. The architects who remained, our ancestors, chose to become less than they were so that you might become all that you could be. In their memory, we seek only partnership, not dominion. As the Congress erupted in discussion, Elena stepped away from the podium, her thoughts turning to the stars beyond the galaxy's edge. Somewhere out there, the Transcendents still journeyed, having chosen a different path. Perhaps someday they would return, and the galaxy would need to be ready. But for now, humanity had found its true place, not rulers by ancient right or prisoners by ancient crime, but guardians once more, remembering a responsibility they had accepted ages before their current civilization had even begun. The ancient network hummed throughout the galaxy, no longer dormant, but no longer threatening, transformed from the foundation of an empire into the framework of an alliance that might, at last, fulfill the original promise of the stars.